Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I decided to just make a video about where you can find arcade games, arcade machines, arcade parts, everything along those lines. I get a lot of questions about where you can find different things like that, so I decided just to make a video that hopefully helps somebody out there, and we'll go through it. So I got everything compiled on my blog, and those who've been on the channel for a long time ago, you know I have a blog, but I haven't been keeping it up to date. But anyway, I put everything up on the blog, and I'm actually going to put a link to the blog on this YouTube video, so that way you can easily get to each and every one of these items without any trouble, and hopefully be a little use to you. At the very bottom, we got some useful apps, and we'll talk about how you can use that as well. So let's just get started. So you decided that you want to get into the world of arcade gaming, and you want to partake in it. So where do you start? The first place I would always say for any new person who wants to get into arcade gaming or anything like that, or get in an arcade machine, is to go to the forums. There are many different forums. I'm just going to list a few here, but just because I don't have other ones listed here doesn't mean they're not bad or anything like that. I just simply don't have them listed. So the first one I have up here is the KLV, Killer List of Video Games. So this is an arcade site, has a lot of good information on it and everything else. I would recommend for any of the sites, any of these forums, first thing to do is register, obviously. And then after that, all of the channels have like a new member page where you can go and introduce yourself to the other members on the forum. So I would definitely recommend you do that. Look at the rules. Each forum is a little different as far as what they expect and don't allow and do allow and stuff like that. But generally, most people are generally pretty helpful on all of the forums. So you treat people nice, and they'll help you out and everything else. So just learn the rules, be respectful, and everything else will work pretty well. So when you go to the different forums after you register, they'll have sites, or actually subsections on each site, where you can buy video games, sell video games, put a wanted item out there for what you need, so on and so forth. So this one is that site. And as you go to the different forums, you'll find that generally the people you meet on one forum are members on other forums. So definitely you want to keep up your reputation. So don't think you can be a jerk on one forum and then go to another. People will know. So just remember to be respectful on the forums. So here's another forum, Arcade Projects. I'm on here a lot. Like I said, register. Go to the welcome page right here. Introduce yourself. And after you've done all that, you can come down. And here you can find a section where you can find arcade PCBs and carts, arcade machines, all kinds of things are here on the different forums. So that's another one. Next up we have Arcade Article, another forum. Now I will say, just as the web is like, worldwide, right? So these first sites, I tend to find a lot of people on these sites are in America. On this site, I tend to find a lot of people on this site are in Europe. And like I said, everybody's real welcome and everything else. But just keep that in mind, so that if you decide you want to buy an arcade game from the folks over here, generally you'll be buying them and they'll list their prices in euros. So just keep that in mind when you're buying stuff like that, right? Whatever you're doing, they'll list whatever the price will be and everything else. Also keep in mind the standard, let's just say the standard procedure for when you go to any of these forums if you want to buy something. So generally, it's not hard written in stone, but generally what will happen is this. You go to a forum, you've registered and everything else, and you decide you want to buy something. What you would want to do is just simply go to the item in question. Like, let's just say I go in here, right? They'll have it listed. They'll have a picture of what they're selling and everything else. And then generally at the bottom, let's see here, if it's for sale, most of the time they'll tell you whether, oh, so this one's already been sold, but they'll tell you, hey, it's for trade, it's for sale, so on and so forth. And okay, so here you go, they're telling you what these are, like I said. So you would just send a message to that person right there and say, hey, I'm interested in whatever, and then they'll say, okay, send me your information, and then they'll send you their PayPal information, and then you send them payment, and then they'll mail you whatever you ask for. So to start it off with, you come to this form, you go to the very bottom down here, you would just reply to a post and just say PM interested in it, said item, to the original poster. And then after you post down at the bottom that you're sending them a PM, actually remember to actually send that person a private message. That's what PM is. And then there say, hey, I'm interested in XYZ. Do you have it? Any questions you have about said item, ask that person. They'll answer it to you and such like that. And at the end, if you want to get it from them, just ask them for their PayPal information and they'll send it to you. So on and so forth. That's generally the structure for any of the forums. No matter which one you go to, that standard procedure works and everything else. So like I said, once you do it once, you'll be able to do the same thing 1,000 different times. So along those lines, as I said, a lot of the stuff over here is either in pounds or euros. So let's just say you don't know the conversions in your head just automatically yet. Once you start doing this for a while, you will just know the conversion. But in case you didn't, at the very bottom of the page down here, I have a quick and easy little app you can get to. Come in here, let's just say they were in euro and you were in US, and they said the cost was 200 euro. That means it would cost you, because the rate of everything else is $203, right? So let's just say it's British pound. It would cost you $230 if you were in America. So just a little quick and easy app in case you are buying something that is not in your native currency. Okay, so that was that site. Moving back up, we had another forum right here, Neo Geo. So if you come to the Neo Geo site, their section is Neo Geo items here. People who are looking for different Neo Geo items. So like let's say you want an item, but none of the forums have it for sale. None of the sites I'm going to show you have it for sale. So you could just make a post here and say, hey, I'm looking for X. And if somebody sees your post and they have it, they'll respond to you and let you know how much they're selling said item for. Okay. They have a section here for people who are just selling things that are not necessarily arcade games or Neo Geo things, fall under this section. And then this section right here is literally where they sell their arcade PCBs and such like that. So I know it's a little funny, it's an inside joke of why it's named that, but this right here is where all of their arcade games are at, so on and so forth. Same procedure as before. Go inside, look and see how much it costs, look at the pictures of the item. If it interests you, post on there, PM sent, and then actually send a message to the original poster, and then go from there. Pretty simple stuff. Alright, so as a rule of thumb, you probably want to start your purchasing or looking for any items, whether it's arcade games, arcade machines, or cabinets. You want to start with the forums, simply because everything else past the forums, you will still be able to get what you're looking for, but the price will be higher. Generally, people sell things on the forums simply because they don't have to deal with the markup of using a service like eBay or Yahoo or any of the bidding services or anything like that. So you're entering in, a private sale for somebody else who has the game. And generally, like I said in the beginning, that's why you want to have a good reputation as a buyer and a seller, because if you're dealing with somebody who has a poor representation as a seller, you probably won't buy from them, right? Conversely, if people look and say, hey, this person doesn't really want to pay on time, they got a lot of problems, they probably don't even want to sell to you. So your reputation means a lot, so make sure you are respectful to others and you treat other people good, and you won't have any problems. Alright, so after these items here, you go to the arcade forums. Nobody has what you're looking for. You've done a search. Okay, so now we can start looking at the actual arcade PCB shops. So buying arcade games is a little different than going down to GameStop or Best Buy to buy a PS5 game or Xbox game. So there are only a few, I should say they're not only a few, but they're specialized shops that sell arcade games. But once again, they're not going to be very cheap. But if you're looking into arcade games like that and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure you already know the cost of arcade games is much more than a simple console game. So let's start off. AliExpress. AliExpress has a wide selection of games especially for Neo Geo and other stuff like that. But the thing about it with AliExpress is not everything you get here is going to be 100% certified genuine. And sometimes that's totally fine. If you guys are on my channel, sometimes you know, hey, I get games that are duplicates, sometimes they're bootlegs, sometimes they are reproductions, sometimes they're conversions, sometimes they're the real boards, right? I run the gambit. There are a few times I want the exact pure 100% full arcade set for a game or a kit, right? So if I do that, obviously I'm going to pay the premium for that, right? There's other times where I just want the game. I don't want the emulated game. I just want the physical game. But that game might be a conversion, so I might get it from there. So however you want to play the games, that's totally up to you, right? Don't let anyone persuade you from not getting the game in a certain format just because it may not be their preferred way to play a game. So get it however you want, right? So anyway, AliExpress has a wide selection of games. You can search for many different sellers and everything else. I will say the only if you want to look at the con for buying stuff from AliExpress, generally they are all based in like Hong Kong or China or whatever else. And I have not had any problems getting any packages from them, but it just means the turnaround time from when you order them is going to be a little longer versus if you buy a game or a system or a cabinet from somebody in the United States or in your home country. So that's really the downside is that the turnaround time is a little slower because you have to wait for the actual item to be shipped to you. Unless you are actually in China or Hong Kong, well, then it might be a very quick turnaround for you. But you get the picture. So AliExpress is one place you can go. Next up, if you're looking at newer, I mean literally newer arcade games, you guys seen me cover this before, you can go to Xarcadia, get an arcade system, get their arcade games. I'm not going to go deep into here. I got videos on that on the channel already, at least for 2022. But just know you have a full suite of games here you can get. If you just wanted to go, you just go to click on the shop, and then they have all the games listed with all the prices and such right there, right? So you guys are familiar with them. Next up is another one I've used before, HK Legend. Now HK Legend, they have their own board, I should say their own site. They also sell games on eBay as well. So just keep that in mind. And a lot of these vendors that we'll be going through here, they have their own website where you can go to and order directly from them. But they also sell on eBay and Yahoo. And some of them have started actually selling directly on the forums too, because they know a lot of people don't trust going to other sites. They just like to buy them off the forums. So some of these sellers actually sell on the actual forums too. So once again, You can go look whatever you're looking for here. So there's let's see, PGMY. Okay, boom. They got Knights of Valor 2 on the PGM2, and that's $138. And then everything else. So nice selection. Everything else. Okay, so that's Legend HK. And also, just as a disclaimer, so everything I own here, I don't own any of these sites or anything like that. I don't get any discounts or anything like that. This is just my personal list of where I go if I want an arcade game, if I want an arcade cabinet. This is just my method of going through finding what I want. Generally, I want to say 85% of the time I can find exactly what I need just going through the forums, or if I don't find them on the forums, just making a wanted ad. And I normally get a hit for what I want within, unless it's super rare, maybe like 4 or 5 days, generally. But there are some times where I just can't find what I want. I just go to one of these sites and you'll find it. It's been very rare that I've not been able to find an arcade game or arcade cabinet that I don't want. But the key thing to know is once you get out of the forums, you will pay your premium. So just keep that in mind. All right, next up is GFont. So I actually went to GFont and Mac when I was in Japan. So they do have a storefront presence and an online store. So keep that in mind. If you are ever going to Japan, I definitely recommend you go to GFont, go to Mac, go to Super Potato. Just hit them up. You'll find a lot of arcade stores there that you can actually physically go to. It's a great experience, even if you don't want to buy anything there. I will say GFont and Mac, and I'll show you Mac in a second, they have a wide selection of games and everything else. Obviously, they're in Japan that have arcades literally left and right in the different places, right? So they have a wide selection of games and stuff that they can sell you. But they are not the cheapest. GFont has never been the cheapest for buying games, whether you order from them or directly or you go to there. They've never been the cheapest for that, so just keep that in mind. But I will say all of the games I've ever bought from them are all in very good condition. They all come with either the real artwork or reproduction artwork, and they come with manuals. Like each and every one has come with like whether it's either real manual or reproduction, which is pretty cool. That's one thing you might not get, obviously, if you order games from the forums. People may have a kit, and when I say a kit, that means, you know, it has the box it came in, the game itself, obviously, whether it's a cartridge or a PCB, the artwork, which is like the marquee, it has the move strips, it has a poster, you know, all that is like a full kit, right? So you could find stuff like that, full kits and stuff like that, a lot of times from the shops, not necessarily all the times from the forums. Generally, when people sell kits on the forums, they cost a little bit more, but hey, you get what you want. So this is GFont. Another useful tip: if you don't know how to read Japanese or any other language in general, what you can do is at the very bottom of this page, I have a little Google Translate right here. So you can just plug in your app, the website, click it, and it'll open up for you in your language of choice. So just another way in case you needed to translate something. If you didn't know that language of the page, you can do that. Also, you can always, if you got a smartphone, you can just bring up a Translate app, hover it over the web page, and it'll translate it for you over your smartphone. All right, let's move on. That was GFont. Here's another site right here that sells games and such like that. So once again, you can translate it. So here it's the games list and everything else, right? So you can just take this and I guess I shouldn't have closed it, but whatever. And sometimes the translation is fast, sometimes a little slower, but either way, it gets you the idea. So you can see it just translated it for me, whatever else. So they got a Neo Geo MV1B for $1870. That's basically $170, give it or take, if I was to do it. So good prices, some good, some low. You'll get the used to like what's high, what's low. Once you should start looking at things. And also, remember before I said, people sell stuff on the forum. Sometimes you may find a game or a board that's actually cheaper from buying from a shop than somebody on the forum. So just shop around, and find where you want to. The key thing about buying from the shops, the Japanese shops, or the foreign shops, I should say, is that sometimes they will ship to, for example, directly to the United States. Sometimes they won't. Sometimes you may have to get somebody who actually lives in that area to ship it to you, to buy it and then ship it to you. We'll talk about that a little bit later, especially when we get down to like buying from Yahoo Japan. But just keep that in mind. All right, next up we got Mac Japan. Really enjoyed Mac Japan when I was there. They sell a lot of stuff, and their listing is here. So they put their listing in a PDF. So they always keep their listing of their up-to-date games in the PDF. So last time they updated the listing was 7/15. Arcade games, once again, are not like games at GameStop or Best Buy. So sometimes they may have like a huge selection of games. Sometimes it may be smaller, depending on how many people are buying the games and stuff like that. But either way, so this is here, the PDF. All you would need to do is just download it, download the file, and then you would just come in here and then click on Documents, and you can upload the document. It will convert it for you. So pretty straightforward. I'm not going to do it right now, but you guys get the idea. So that's Mac Japan, and they have more things on here too. So like if you wanted a super gun, so there's a super gun you can order. I've actually had this super gun before. It's very good, heavy, but it's very kind of close together, but pretty good super gun. A Sigma. So if you needed a super gun and stuff like that, and if you get a super gun from Mac, I'll tell you, it's gonna come in like a full box. It's gonna come like brand new. Unlike if you get a super gun like from on the forum or something like that, which has been used before. But it's gonna be pricey. So like, I have to convert it, but generally, like, so just this cable right here is $35. So pretty sure if you order this super gun now, it's gonna probably be like $600 if you get this super gun. But anyway, that's Mac Japan. They got a lot of different stuff here, good selections of stuff. Moving on, we got Tops. Here you go, their selections of games and stuff like that. So if we go click on one, let's just see what we got down here. Alright, so we got Cave, that's what Ketsu, and they're selling this one for 198 yen. So basically you can convert that. They're selling it for like 2,000. I want to say that's like 2,000 yen, $2,000 right now if I convert it. I'm pretty sure, but let's just say, what did they say? 198. Oh, okay, it went down. So 1,400. Okay, cool. Sometimes my conversions are off since the last time I went to Japan, so I guess the dollar's been doing a little bit better. So it's 1.4. Not bad for if you get that one, depending on if you like shooters. Also, remember I told you guys about conversion. So if let's just say you didn't want to pay $1,400 for the Cave board for Ketsu, you could get this converted version of this game on the PGM arcade board for around $85, right? So it just depends on how you want to get it, which format you want to get it. Do you want to get it in the true original JAMA PCB? You get it this way for $1,400, or you can get it on what was that site? If we go back to AliExpress, and so here are the Cave games, right? So let's see, do they have Ketsu in shop? So Cave is out of stock right now. You can see it's grayed out, so they have to restock it. But you could get it right there, and I'm pretty sure, and you can see when you click on it, it's changing the price. But this is just for one seller, so you could search for it. But I'm pretty sure if you did some deep searching, you could get that one for around $85 or so. You just need to search for it. So that's what I mean when I say, hey, if you want a game, just do some searching, and you can find the games in whatever format you want. All right, so that was Topps. Let's go to Try. Here's their game list, and once again, I don't know why I keep closing my translator. So there you go. Here's it translated for you. So don't feel that just because you don't know native language on a site that you are blocked from that. You can just translate it, and then after that, translate it. You know, you just send an email, contact the store owner, and then they will be quite helpful as far as letting you know what they can do as far as sending it to you, selling it, and everything else. So you can go for it from there. Alright, so those are the base arcade shops that I normally use if I'm looking for an arcade game. Next up, we get to arcade parts, right? So as you get deeper in down the rabbit hole, you're going to either be wanting a super gun, you're going to want either an arcade stick or an arcade cabinet, right? So you start talking about maintenance and all the other stuff you can get. So when I want new buttons or arcade sticks, generally I go to Arcade Shop. They're not necessarily the cheaper, and there's some other places I go to well, but this is just an example. So I can come in here and find buttons, joysticks, and everything else. They actually sell a few arcade games, but generally they're almost out of stock for their arcade games, and they're not restocking them. But they had a few for sale and everything else. But generally, I used to come here, and most of the time, and just get where are my buttons, right? So if I want to get different buttons or different things like that, I come here for parts and stuff like that. Pretty good. Never had a problem from them. They've been pretty accurate. Let's say you got a arcade cabinet or an arcade game that needs repair, right? Andy is very well known. He does a lot of repair and a lot of games and a lot of spare parts and stuff like that. You can visit him. He's in the I think in the UK or in somebody in Europe, but he's still very useful. Very smart guy. If you need something like that repaired and stuff like that, you could definitely go to him and feel pretty confident in his work. So if you need something repaired, I highly recommend speaking with him. And then next up on the arcade parts, I have River Service. So River Service is a place I normally go to, once again, for more, let's just say, different type arcade buttons or ball tops. So like if I want metal ball tops or fluorescent bicolor ball tops, come here. If I'm looking for a control panel, right, and nobody has one on the form I need right quick, I can come here, get one from River Service, stuff like that. Also, they have stools, like if you just want the authentic arcade stool for your arcade cabinet, stuff like that, you can come here and order it from them and everything else. It's not a quick turnaround because sometimes they'll make them for you based on your fabric and everything else. But hey, if you can get whatever you want and everything else. They've been pretty responsive. They tell you, down here, the different email addresses for the people who are working, and then they tell you who speaks different languages and everything else. And if you are overseas, So they got it pretty well organized. So if you need something that you can't find on the forum and anything else, I would recommend you try River Service. All right, next up. So, like I said, you've gotten arcade games. You probably are running on a Super Gun right now, and now you decided, hey, you know what? I really want an arcade cabinet, right? So, everybody I've ever talked to, we always start with one. Everybody gets in the feel or the hobby, and you start off with one cabinet, and next thing you know, you have like 5 or 6. I'm up to I don't know how many cabinets I'm up to now. Maybe like 12. It's like an addiction. Sometimes you collect arcade cabinets just like you collect arcade games. It's fun. But anyway, so one place you can go that does sell arcade cabinets and arcade games is CoinUp Express. Now, CoinUp Express is not cheap in the least. I'm going to say that up front. They are not cheap. But if you can't find what you're looking for anywhere else, CoinUp Express might have what you're looking for. So they have your PCBs over here. And when I say they're not cheap, just to give you an example, for example, if I go to, let's go to Type X2, and let's go to Street Fighter 4. The upgrade that came out, I don't know how long ago this game. So if you buy the upgrade from CoinUp Express for Street Fighter 4, it's $4,595, and that's just the upgrade. Now you can go get the Street Fighter 4 upgrade kit and the PCB at this point in time for probably like, I don't know, $70 somewhere, right? But you can't find anything else and you need it, CoinUp Express has it for you. So just keep that in mind. CoinUp Express is like the international version of eBay. If they don't have it, if you ask them for something and they have a section over here where you can do a request, if you can't find it yourself or anything else, you can put it in a request and they will have somebody actually farm out and find it for you and then come back and tell you how much it'll cost. So they will get it for you, but it won't be cheap, but they can get it for you. Anyway, what I normally came here for, I have bought some cheaper games in the past from CoinUp Express, but they're like very cheap, like cheap as far as arcade games, I should say. But it's really hit or miss. You have to see what they have on sale. But what I like to come here for really is to look at their arcade cabinet selection, because sometimes they have arcade cabinets that I have not seen before or did not know about. So if you needed an arcade cabinet and you couldn't get it from anybody on the forum or any of the other items, you could come here and look on CoinUp Express. So right here, like, you got a metal candy cabinet, a 19-inch monitor and stuff like that, and they'll have a person playing it, showing you how it works and stuff like that, giving you the feature and everything else on here, right? So one thing you have to know though, so you have to take into account the price of the cabinet, then the price of the shipping the cabinet, and of course you're gonna have to pay for like the docking fees from when it comes in on the boat and all kind of other stuff you have to deal with when you order cabinets from them. So there's a lot of other fees that goes with it. So just keep in mind, this right here is not the end all be all. There's going to be shipping costs. There's going to be fee transfer costs. There's going to be a lot of other things to go along with it. But once again, if you can't find the cabinet you want or the game you want and nobody else has it, this is an option, right? But generally, I would say before you order from CoinUp Express, go through all of the forums, put want ads on each forum, wait a week, maybe even a month, make sure nobody doesn't have it out there and you don't get any hits. And then after you do that, if you can't find it, you really want it, CoinUp Express will probably fit your needs, but it will be at a premium. So let's just take a look at some of the other casts before we leave here. So here are all the Vulexes you got here. You got Tekken Machine. That's a dual, so you can get two of them. You get two of them in this set for 5,000. Some of the cabinets on here are actually made specifically for modern consoles like PS4, PS5, Xbox Series X. So some of the consoles are made for that, and some of them are made obviously for arcade games. So just keep that in mind. So like this one right here is compatible with the consoles and the JVS arcade boards, right? $3,000. It's not bad for, like, if this was in a place that's local. That's not bad for if it had all the PCBs and everything else hooked up for it and a JVS hookup. It's not that bad. But when you take into account, you got to pay this, you're going to have to pay shipping on top of that and the other fees. It's going to probably, before you get it to your house, you're probably talking about, I don't know, 5,000 probably, with all the other fees and other stuff you're going to have to deal with to get it from them. So just keep that in mind. And they'll be upfront. They'll tell you exactly. So you just got to ask your questions. But anyway, that's where you can get arcade cabinets from Coin-Op Express. Next up, we got Highway Entertainment. Same way, basically the same thing as Coin-Op Express. The difference is they are generally, I think they're more like based out of Australia and stuff like that. But you can get arcade games from them as well. They're a little cheaper than Coin-Op Express. Not much, but a little cheaper than Coin-Op Express. And they do have a few cabinets as well. So like, they don't have the same amount of selection of cabinets that Coin-Op Express has, but they have a few. But anyway, if you're looking and you're doing comparison shopping, you can definitely check out Highway Entertainment. I've talked to them several times, and I was about to buy a few games from them before, but just before I was about to purchase for them, somebody would always pop up on the forum and say, "Hey, I got this," so I would buy it from a forum member. But I have emailed them several times and gotten good responses and everything else, so really helpful. So if you needed to buy from them, I have confidence that they would get it to you. Next up is another site I've heard about, have not actually purchased anything from, but they do have a selection of arcade cabinets and games and such like that, and such. So somewhere else you can look at as well and compare and contrast in case you needed to get something. Looks like they also have step-down converters and such. So just a side note, I'm not going to get deep into it, but some arcade machines, depending on your country, you may need a step-down converter. So like, for example, you guys have seen me do videos on my Atomic Wave cabinet. So for that one, I have to run that one through a step-down converter so that the voltage matches what is coming out of my wall outlet, so it plays correctly and everything else. So sometimes you may have to get a step-down converter or adapter, however you want to think about it. So it looks like they have some of those for sale, and some control panels and stuff. So this is another site. Next up, we got Tetsun Crate. Now, this one, probably if you're just getting games for your local or your home arcade, you probably wouldn't use Tetsun. But if, let's just say you have a business, you actually run your own arcade for real, Tetsun is a place you could go and get arcade games in bulk. Let's just say like you own a air quote Dave & Buster's franchise or something like that, right? And you want to get some games and you didn't want to wait around for stuff on the forums. You could come to like Tetsun and say, I want a Luigi's Mansion arcade, whatever, and then they could quote you a price and get you and stuff directly from the factory. So that's what Tetsun's good for and stuff like that. The next one is the game room. So my very first candy cab I got from Ken at the game room. So I got my very first arcade cabinet from him. So he's Ken runs this business. He's very good to work with. So like he's looking right now, if you needed a candy cab, he sold out of Astro City 2s. He sold out of those. Looks like he does have a Blast City for sale right now. That's a decent price actually. And I can't remember, but I think the prices that Ken listed on the site or the prices shipped. So when he lists the price, that is shipped to your door. At least last time I ordered from him. So he's got a Blast City for sale right now. Not bad. Definitely. All you need to do is just contact Ken, tell him what you're looking for, and if he'll confirm that it's in stock, he'll send you pictures of the arcade cabinet running, or I should say, of the arcade cabinet that you're gonna get. Any questions about it? If you got any questions about the screen burning, anything else, he's very nice, helpful, and stuff like that. So definitely give him a ring if it's something you're looking for. He's based out of Utah, so obviously if you're in the States, he'll tell you about shipping and how long it'll take to get to him. But Ken is very well respected and everything else. So if you need something, feel free to work out and contact him for any of your arcade cabinet needs. All right. So those are some sites, and like I said, this is just a sample of where you can get arcade cabinets. Next up, this is more or less about games for this next section right here. So let's just say you went through the forums, you couldn't find out what you wanted, you went through some of the arcade stores, they didn't necessarily have what you were looking for. Next up is the auction sites. So I have two different auction sites here. One is if you're on the East Coast in the United States, you can go here. They'll tell you when they have auction events going on and the locations and stuff like that, right? I actually, if you go to the channel, I actually had a video I think I posted on just me attending one of the auction sites, so you can get an idea of what goes on there and how it's run. But it's a real life auction site. Sometimes they have many different arcade games and all kind of different types, whether it's a fighting game, shooting game, driving game, whatever. They'll have it there, and you literally bid for the games against other people, and then at the end of the auction, you pay for it and you take it home or take it to your place of business, right? So that one is right here is for people who are on the East Coast. This one right here, the captains, this is for people who are on the West Coast. Same thing. So same operation. Next up is Craigslist. Not really an auction, but always if you're looking for any arcade games or stuff like that, take some time out and do a quick Craigslist search. I is amazed sometimes people who have parents who have arcade games because the kids moved away or they got left because somebody passed away, and they just want stuff cleared out of their homes, and they'll put it up on Craigslist because they just want it gone, and they don't really know the value of the stuff that they're having, and they're just like, hey, I just want this gone, so here it is for $100, and you can find all kind of stuff on Craigslist. So always take a search on Craigslist, just type in arcade for your location, and or some locations that's right near you, and see if anything comes up, so you can find some hidden gems on Craigslist, especially for arcade games and stuff like that. All right, next up is the big one, eBay. So eBay has games, arcade games galore. You will be able to find arcade games on eBay without a doubt. You will be able to see the seller's feedback without a doubt. You pay by PayPal, your credit card without a doubt, and you will get your games in question without a doubt. And you can sell on eBay, and you know how everybody knows how it works. So no doubt, as far as getting what you're looking for or finding it on eBay, I don't have any problems with that. My reservation about eBay is just it's not really a reservation, but you will pay a premium for getting things on eBay because the seller has to sell it at a higher rate because of the eBay fees. So the seller has to sell it higher, which means you have to buy it at a higher rate. So if you cannot find the game that you're looking for on any of the forums, then you can go to eBay and find it there without a doubt. But I would definitely recommend you go to the forums first, and then after you search the forums out, if nobody has it and nobody can deliver it, check eBay, and you can check some of the other arcade shops as well that I had listed above. So eBay will get you what you want, but you will pay a little higher price for it there. Same thing for Yahoo Japan. The only difference with Yahoo Japan versus eBay is that since Yahoo Japan has a lot more access to the arcades and the arcade hardware and pieces, you'll find a lot more variety of things on Yahoo Japan that you won't find on eBay. So that's a plus. The minus is that you will have to deal with shipping from another country. Some sellers on Yahoo Japan don't sell directly to people who are not in Japan. So you will have to either get someone to order it for you, or you will have to use a bidding service. And so that's what this link right here is. And there, I can hear it in the videos, don't use this one, don't use another one. There are many different auction bidding services out there. This is just one that I know about. But you can sign up. You'll tell them what you want. They will generally ask you to post the link to the item that you want to purchase. They'll tell you the minimum bid that they will bid for you, then the maximum. They'll tell you how much the fee will be for using their service. And then after that, they'll tell you how much it'll cost to have it shipped to you. So a lot of extra steps. But if you wanted to use something like Yahoo Japan and you didn't know, you didn't have anybody in Japan to actually buy it for you or anything else like that, you could use a bidding service like this to buy from Auction Japan and get it shipped to you. So another option, a few more steps, but you can do that if you want to. But once again, I would only use Yahoo Japan if everything else doesn't work out on the forums. Okay? Getting to the bottom down here, we got to some all-in-one systems. So these are more or less like your all-in-one Pac-Man systems and stuff like that, right? Or cocktail cabinets and stuff like that. Sometimes people don't want, they don't want to deal with PCBs or Japanese arcade cabinets, stuff like that. They just want an all-in-one. They can sit down with their friends, put in their living room, put in their game room, put in their man cave, whatever else. They're not planning on ever upgrading it. They're just going to run whatever certain set of games it comes with, and they're happy with that. So if you're that kind of person, here's an example of a site that has games that fit those needs. Conversely, everybody I think knows about Arcade1Up right now. So if you don't, they're a company that gets licenses from other vendors and everything else, and then they make a certain set of games on those cabinets, and then you can get them. If you look on my channel, you'll see that I actually do have, 9 different Arcade1Up machines that are different from my standard arcade classic or let's just say Game Center arcade machines. So I actually do have some Arcade1Up machines on the channel. So if you want to take a look at those on the channel, you can. And I go through some pluses and cons. High level, I would say, if you have kids and or smaller children, or in your homes, I do think Arcade1Up machines serve a purpose, and that is a good way for them to play on it. If you're an adult and you want the true arcade experience, an Arcade1Up machine can work for you, but you will end up, as I say in some of my other videos, you will end up probably saying that you don't like the joysticks and you want higher quality joysticks, so you're going to upgrade the joysticks. You will say, if you want to play with another adult on the machine, that you find the control panel a little smaller. So you'll probably want to upgrade the control panel and make it a little larger. You will say that, hey, the viewing angle on some of the screens are not as crisp as you would like, or if you go to a certain viewing angle to the left or to the right, or if you're down, that it doesn't display in some cases for some cabinets and that same 100% clarity that you would see in a standard arcade cabinet, right? So all that to say, I myself own 9 different arcade 1-up cabinets, right? So they do fill a role. If you want just something to put in a corner, put in a sub room, or whatever else, you're not going to upgrade it, it's fine. But if you're a person that is highly picky about things like that, you may find out by the time you do all your upgrades on your arcade 1-up cabinet to make it the way you really want, it's not too much far off from just buying a standard real arcade cabinet and just getting a 60-in-1 arcade PCB and putting it inside there, and you got the real arcade experience with the real arcade games, and you don't have to do any other upgrades after that. So one thing I will say that is a real plus about this is that arcade 1-up machines, they don't take up a lot of space. They are very compact, so you can get a lot of them in a tiny amount of space. So that is another plus for them. So that's arcade 1-up, and there are other places like II Arcade. So as you guys saw on the one of my videos, I actually did a pre-order for one of the II Arcade video cabinets. That'll be coming pretty soon. I'll do a review on that as well. So just something different. I just want to try one of those out because I had, like I said, 9 different arcade 1-up cabinets. Just wanted to try out one of these cabinets from a different company just to see the experience, see how I did and everything else. So I'll be reviewing one of those later on this summer. So that's this one. And there's some other arcade cabinets that I don't have it listed up here. For example, there's one that's from Unico. They made a very good cabinet. It's called the MV SX cabinet. I think you can see that cabinet on my channel, so you can take a look at it. But that was a very well done, smaller type form factor all-in-one arcade cabinet. And I'll come back and add a link for that one on here. That cabinet I will recommend. Like, hey, if you wanted a smaller, all-in-one cabinet, and you didn't really want to do a lot of upgrades, that one did pretty well. I mean, it's still not a true arcade, arcade machine like a Vulex or a Sega Astro City or anything like that. But for an all-in-one system, it did very well. So hats off for the makers of that system. So there you go, guys. I just went through, I'll come back and see how long this video is, but went through a lot of stuff on this video where you can learn about arcade games, where you can get involved with the community through the forums. You can buy arcade games on these different forums. You can buy arcade cabinets on these forums. Here are the shops, parts, dedicated places where you can buy arcade cabinets, and some of these actually sell arcade games, but at a premium. Sites where you can meet up and actually bid on arcade games and arcade cabinets. And then Craigslist, eBay, your end-all be-all for fine things. Same thing for Yahoo Japan. So I hope this helps. Like I said, I get a lot of questions from a lot of people where you can buy stuff like this, where you can get involved, where you can do it. Like I said, join up to the sites, read, learn, get involved with the community, ask questions for the people on the forums. They'll help you out a lot. And for any of these sites, like I said, research them before you just buy. Do your due diligence for any of the stuff. Find out what their return policy is and everything else before you just jump in. And above all else, have fun. If this helped, please let me know. Put a like on the video. And as always, stay safe out there. And I'll talk to everyone later. Peace.